Congratulations to Shakur Stevenson for dominating Jemiah every single second of every single round. Or perhaps you could take 3 seconds away, since he only got caught 3 times cleanly throughout the fight. In other words, Shakur Stevenson lost 3 seconds against Jemiah during the duration of a 12-round fight. This is how special is Shakur. With one hand, you can count the seconds Shakur lost during the whole fight. This was a perfect execution where Shakur was sharp as a knife. I mean, if you're looking for the definition of the sweet science, Shakur Stevenson is the piece of art you're looking for, which Shakur displayed that tonight against Jemiah. For the people that's not too familiar with Jemiah, this guy was no pushover. With only 21 fights, he has 17 KOs on his resume, more than 80% knockout ratio. For the people that don't know, Jemiah knocked out his last 10 opponents, majority via one-punch knockout, where they got hit and went to sleep. The same way you shut down your computer, those guys went to sleep. They weren't even able to attempt to beat the 10-second count. That's how hard Jemiah hit. He's a real puncher. On top of that, he's awkward, has good speed, and a counter-puncher. So again, Jemiah was no slouch. In fact, he's rated number 2 under the WBO at super featherweight. Therefore, Jemiah is deadly, but like Roy Jones said, I just make him look like nobody. That's the type of talent Shakur brings to the table. But to no surprise, it took little to no time for Tessitore to start his hating agenda on Shakur. And the moment Mark Kriegel broke the ice by attempting to label Shakur as a boring fighter, Timothy Bradley had to follow the lead. Like I said before on my last video, where Bradley told Ryan to shut up. I told you guys, Bradley, he's either hot or cold. He either keep it 100 or he goes from 100 to 0 real quick. What I noticed is that, like the classic traditional followers, Timothy Bradley, 95% of the time, usually goes with the popular narrative, with the trend. Because even though Shakur was doing everything he was supposed to do, he was dominating Jemiah and knocked him down twice, which caused Jemiah to keep his hands at home. He wasn't letting his hands go, which made it difficult for Shakur to look for the knockout. Nevertheless, the fight was very exciting because Jemiah was a deadly puncher, which impressively Shakur was making Jemiah miss by an inch. However, instead of ESPN commentators praising Shakur for that, calling him the Matrix for pressing the action, then making Jemiah miss the bombs he was throwing by an inch and making him pay. But instead, they were criticizing Shakur for not throwing 5 punches combinations. Like I said before, when you're on the coincidental list, you damn if you do, damn if you don't. Which this is another perfect example. Because even during Shakur's last fight, when he was throwing 5 punches combo, Tessitore still called Shakur Stevenson performance boring. Why? Because according to Tessitore, Shakur did not get the knockout against an opponent who was looking to survive. So it don't matter if Shakur throws single punches, double punches, combination punches, up to 6 punches in the inside. Tessitore still calls Shakur boring. But on the other hand, when Lomachenko fought Teofimo Lopez and only landed 6 punches for the first 6 rounds, Tessitore had nothing to say but call Lomachenko the Matrix, even though he was losing every single round while putting on a stinking performance against Teo. Even when Tyson Fury was throwing 3 to 5 punches against Klitschko, Tessitore only pointed out Tyson Fury's skills, not how boring he is. Therefore, it's clear as day that Tessitore and Mark Kriegel are racially biased. Apparently, according to Mark Kriegel and Tessitore, Shakur punishing his opponent is not enough. They want to see him get punished. They don't care if Shakur throws 5-6 punches combination in the inside. That's not fun. See, to them, the wrong guy getting hit They want to see Shakur get hit. That's fun. But what's more disgusting, instead of Timothy Bradley carry himself with class, with all his credentials, he'd rather sell out and follow to a T what Malcolm X called the disease of being a housemaid. If you noticed, when Andre Ward made a comment that I agreed with, where he stated that he would like to see Shakur start walking Jemiah down in order to break him down, Timothy Bradley responded with a comment I also agreed with by stating, "We are not the ones that's fighting. We are not the ones that's getting hit. Shakur could have possibly felt something." And I actually recall in the first round, Jemiah had countered Shakur straight left with his own hook, which caught Shakur attention. Like I said before, styles make fights. Jemiah was an awkward counterpuncher that can end your night with one punch. So when Timothy Bradley brought that to Andre Ward's attention, Ward acknowledged that point by stating, Jemiah could close his eyes and swing where he can possibly catch Shakur. And the fact that Jemiah lost every single second of every single round, he had nothing to lose. So he was willing to gamble while fighting to survive. However, instead of Tessitore and Timothy Bradley blaming Jemiah for the lackluster performance by fighting to survive instead of fighting to win, they blame everything on Shakur, who's doing everything he's supposed to do. Therefore, the moment Mark Kriegel tweets that Shakur is going to end up being labeled a boring fighter if that's how he fights, that's when Timothy Bradley came out and had to make his masters proud. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, because that's exactly how it came off. Timothy Bradley went far and beyond, making a disgusting statement stating that he fell asleep watching the fight, when the definition of boxing is hit and don't get hit. So guess what, Timothy Bradley? Go watch another sport. Shakur puts on a Matrix performance, and that's all you had to say? You are the definition of disappointment. But I do love the fact that Andre Ward pointed out, they called me boring, they called Floyd Mayweather boring, now it's Shakur Stevenson's turn. We all know where that comes from. Throughout history, it's all about the yin and the yang, black and white. When Lomachenko puts on a boring performance where he threw little to no punches at all, Tessitore want to call Lomachenko the Matrix. When Tyson Fury moves around and fights boring, they want to point out his skills. But when Shakur Stevenson does everything he's supposed to do and more against a dangerous opponent who's only looking to survive, they want to call him a boring fighter, which is a code word of the N-word fighter. That's the sad truth. With that being stated, drop your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe below, and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of AKHi, AKHi, TV. Peace, and I'm on to the next one.